Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of What If. Before we get this video started, I just want to say, I did a live stream last night on NHL 22 franchise mode. If you want to go check that out, it was the last video on the channel before this, so there's going to be, it's a little over an hour. It's basically a bunch of basics on scouting. If you want to get into franchise mode for NHL 22 or even upcoming NHL 23, you can watch that video. I go over basically scouting and how lines work. I don't really go into it, but it's pretty easy to catch from the way that I was doing it on. As I would do it, take it pretty slow. Let alone it went over an hour. I also did my lines. I'm doing an Arizona Coyotes rebuild because I still had saved the Chicago Blackhawks franchise for NHL 23. I tend to like to do the worst team in the league every franchise mode. Like in NHL 21, I did Buffalo. NHL 22, I did Arizona. This next year, I'm probably going to do Chicago because they are going to be the worst team in the league. And we'll see how that goes. I'm actually going to try and get a live stream. I'm probably going to live stream on Twitch right after this. So if you want to watch this video, you can probably go over. I'm probably going to be doing the first half of the first season. So we'll see how that goes. And then we'll take it from there. So anyway, today we're doing an episode of What If along with this. And now that we've made it to 2017. Now, we've made the finals in the What If scenario in from 2009 to 2016, 8 years in a row. 5 of these years have cups. So 5 out of 8 Stanley Cups is pretty good. At this point, they would have 8 Stanley Cups. They're 4th most in NHL history, only behind Montreal, Toronto, Detroit. Yeah. So, 2017, obviously, they get destroyed. And they didn't. It wasn't really Nashville who destroyed them. It was Pecorino who destroyed them. They're the top seed in the West. They're the top seed in the West with 109 points going up against a wild card 2 Nashville team who they've beaten before a couple times now. At this point, they would have beaten them 15, 12, 11, and 10. So 4 out of the 8 years. Nashville wasn't in the playoffs for 2 of those years. So there was actually only 2016 and 2009. Actually, Nashville was they missed the playoffs 3 of those years. So yeah, there really wasn't there really wasn't a year that they didn't play Nashville except for the last one. And then Nashville comes in as a second wild card. They're a very good second wild card with the team they had, and they win 1-0 and 5-0 in Chicago. Chicago does not score at home in the series. Then in Game 3. Chicago was up 2-0 going into the third. Nashville comes back. Kevin Fiala gets the game winner in overtime. Probably should have circled that to begin with because this is going to be part of our what-if scenario. We're going to say... Who scored that game? Dennis Rasmussen and Patrick Kane. So we're going to say Duncan Keith gets the OT winner there because Duncan Keith was one of the only people with a point in the series. And he's usually quite good against Nashville, so... He also laid out a massive hit in that game that showed that Chicago was still in this, and then they weren't. So yeah, Chicago wins Game 3. So now they're only down 2-1. Nashville comes out and they win Game 4, 4-1. I'm not going to pretend that there's a chance in hell that the Hawks are winning this series. Nashville's winning the next game. This is the first time we actually have to add games onto a series, I believe, because it's the first time the Hawks are really not up in one. So they're going to go back home to Chicago. Nashville wins the game. Just because of how good Rene was, 4-0. He gets 3 shutouts in the series, all in Chicago. Chicago doesn't score a goal at home. They score 4 goals in the series, improved from the original 3, and that's it. Chicago's run is done, just like that. Chicago gets embarrassed by Nashville. And they lose in the first round. So in 2017, this is the first year they don't make the final. It's the first year they don't win a round. They lose in the first round, and they end their consecutive Stanley Cup final appearances at an end. So now, obviously, in 2018 and 2019, they don't make the playoffs, so I can't really do a what if they won every playoff game on that. 2020, there will be one. That might probably be up tomorrow, I'd like to think. But just looking at this, in 2009, they lose in the final. 2010, they win Cup. 2011, lose in final. 2012, 13, 14, and 15, they win the Cup all those years. 2016, they lose in the final. And then 2017, they completely fall off and lose in the first round. it kind of works because of the way Hawks would just miss the playoffs the next 2 years. Should have been next 5 years. But, yeah. It's also a wonder. I also look back at this Blackhawks roster, and I wonder, how did this team have 109 points? The bottom 6 that the Hawks had in this year was atrocious, and it just wasn't good. You had, the first lines were fine. You had Panik, Tays, and Hossa on the first line, fine. Panarin, Anisimov, and Kane on the next line, fine. You have Ryan Hartman, who's an upcoming winger, or actually he could play center though, but he's in Minnesota now. He was in Nashville prior, and he was a first-round draft pick of the Hawks. He had an excellent year this year, might have had the best year of his career. And then you had guys like Dennis Rasmussen, Brandon Machinta. I can't even think of John Hayden. These guys are getting paid $750K or in the minors. These guys were not NHL caliber players. Marcus Kruger was there. He was our third or fourth line center that year. He came back from. Actually, no, he didn't come back. He was still there, but he wasn't as prominent as he was in 2013 and 2015. So yeah. So the Chicago team they were going up against wasn't really that good either. It was basically just. And it's also funny because Chicago had been third in the Central, fourth in the West in the 2016. Yet they're first in the West here. But yet Kane doesn't have his Hart Trophy season, his Ted Lindsay season, his Art Ross season. Panarin is in his Calder form. And it's like they took a step back but somehow got better. I don't know how that kind of worked in the regular season. But in the playoffs they completely fell off. So no matter what way you look at it, I think Chicago gets destroyed in the series. And Pecorine was too good then. People meme about it now, but people forget how good he actually was in that playoff. They'd go on the run to the final. They beat St. Louis. They beat They beat Anaheim, and then they lose to Pittsburgh in 6. But it was a hard-fought series, and there was some controversy in Game 6. But that's 5 years ago now, or 2020, 21. 2019, 18, 6 finals ago. I cannot believe that is 6 finals ago. Time has just gone by, I guess. But yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Live stream coming soon. I'll probably start in 10, 15 minutes. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.